Tracy, I'm glad you're here. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. This is great.
Well, listen, for folks that don't know Tracy Brown, she's the number three body language expert in the world and a leader in training people to increase the detecting deception. I tried to say that like three or four times, but that's a tongue twister for me,
It
all right?
is.
She's a
Mm-hmm.
frequent guest on TV interpreting body language, and I was just watching another one of her newsletters. She puts videos on there, so I highly recommend becoming a part of her newsletter. But she interprets the body language of criminals and politicians. And sometimes those are the same things in today's world, right? She even helps lawyers pick and persuade using body language as far as they're picking their juries. And
Mm-hmm.
she's a former member of the U.S. national cycling team. Is that what I saw?
That's true. 100%.
Well, I've got to ask you about that because I used to ride a bike 4 and 5,000 miles a year.
Okay. All right. So did
So,
I.
yeah, I'll bet you did. If you were on, I was just doing it to go from beer to beer and barbecue to barbecue to keep the weight off, but it was a lot of fun. But you've got your book, How to Detect Lies and Fraud and Identity Theft.
hmm
And are you going to tease the new book or are we going to hold that secret right now?
Okay. So I'm going to tease the book and I'm really going to tease how I'm going to roll it out. Yeah. So far the working title is called Watch What They Say.
Okay.
And it's at best, it'll come out summer 2027 because publishers are glacial in speed. And I have the coolest book promo to go along with it that anyone has ever done in the history. And I am not kidding you. I am not exaggerating. It is the coolest book promo that anyone has ever done in the history of the world. And I am doing it, and I can't tell you what it is yet. But that's why people want to sign up for my newsletter. And of course, there's going to be cool stuff in my newsletter between now and when I can announce that.
Where is that newsletter? So give us the URL just for anybody that wants
Oh,
it.
you can go to bodylanguagetrainer.com and it's down at the bottom. You'll see it there in the link to sign up. Or anytime I post anything on my TikToks or my Facebook, the link is there
And
as
we're
well.
going to link to it in this article too. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so that'll be great. And as I understand it, you're an executive producer of a TV series.
I got one in the works in Hollywood, yeah. And so the working title of that is we just changed it. Truth be told,
Truth be told.
yeah.
Okay.
So Hollywood's a fickle place. So knock on wood that something cool happens with it.
Yeah, well that is a lot of fun. So let's circle back to this bicycling thing. You were a pro at bicycling. Is that the deal? How
Yeah.
did you get into that? How did you get out of it? What did you experience?
Oh, well, that led me directly into being a body language expert because I learned quickly that the core of cycling, like the elite level, is for little people. And I'm a big person. And 5'9", I don't think overly big, but when you race against elf size people, um, you have to do some things differently to start to keep up and eventually win. And I was able to predict what was going to happen before it actually happened, maybe before even people knew they were going to make their move. And getting that half a second jump on what was about to happen was what allowed me to eventually keep up and then win. And I needed it. Here's the thing, because I had jumped into the deep end of cycling without even knowing it. There was this guy, he kept showing up to the races and well, he was there in the training rides, because he always trained with the men. But every now and then I'd jump in the races and race right alongside him. His name was Lance, and he was really fast. Lance Armstrong.
I was gonna
Um,
say, did he have any medical conditions later on? Yeah,
he did
yeah.
have a few. He's no joke, really fast, but I had to be able to anticipate what was going to happen. So, because the problem is in cycling, the problem and I know that you know this from doing a little bit of riding yourself. It's not like, I don't know, if you're playing softball or soccer or whatever, you're having a bad day, and it's not that you sit on the bench, who cares, it's not that big of a deal. When in cycling, if you don't cut it, they leave you behind, and
Oh,
you've got to find your way home, and you are exhausted anyway. And I'm talking wind, rain, hail, heat, cold, all of it, snow. And I was tired of that. And so I had to really focus in on what I did know and what I could use. And that was understanding body language at a really deep level. But the thing is, I didn't realize I was doing it
Yeah.
until I had already retired. And I was watching the Tour de France with a friend. I'm like, oh, look, here's what's going to happen. And she's like, don't you understand? You've been doing this body language thing for way longer than you ever thought. And I was like, oh, it hit me hard. So I've been reading people since I was 14 years old. And now, I've gone into business with those skills, and I've been lucky enough to train right alongside our country's top law enforcement, FBI, police, and military, Green Berets and Navy, and it's using those same skills to build your bottom line, save you time, money, and energy.
Well, we're not going to make this whole interview about bicycling, but what was a tell? Like you're sitting in the draft,
Uh-huh.
and you what was a tell that you can share?
Well, everyone, and this is the same in the boardroom. Okay, it's the same at work. It's the same at home. Everyone has their own unique tells, and when you can start to understand everyone's uniqueness, then you can start to anticipate what goes on. So, with some people, it would be a sudden change in the angle of their back, right? Other times, I would notice. When it gets hot, it didn't work in the winter as much, but when it gets hot and people start to sweat, if there's a line of salt just under the elastic band of their shorts, I knew I could attack and they wouldn't come with me because they were busted.
Yeah.
So little bitty things like that, like when someone starts drinking too much, when sometimes you can notice when people become sloppy and they start bouncing around a little bit,
Hmm.
then that's a tell as well that they're just like they're struggling, right? So and of course I had to understand like the flow of the pack and what was about to happen next, because and you know this too, and I think it's true in the rest of the world. If you're not moving up, you're moving back. That's just it. You can't sit still in the pack and be like, all right, I'm good. As soon as you do that, you get dumped out the back. It just doesn't work. Like someone will gap you, and then you got to go around them, and then you're fighting to get back to the front. So always, if you're not moving up, you're moving back.
Yeah. You described all of my bicycling tells. I was constantly bonking. Just kidding. So it was a lot of fun. So, hey, you work with all kinds of investigations. You help financial and insurance groups spot lies and,
Mm-hmm.
and, and therefore prevent fraud. What are some of the easy ways that anyone can use these tools we're talking about to stop, to find the lies and stop the losses? I mean, give us
Well,
real practicality.
okay. So if someone nods their head yes, this means yes. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And if they shake their head no, this means no.
Right.
And a perfect example of this right now is super timely. It's the Clintons, because they just released all of their deposition to Congress, or testimony. I don't know if it's a deposition or testimony. Um, but Bill Clinton got asked, "Did you have any sexual contact with anyone Jeffrey Epstein introduced you to?" And he very clearly says no. He nods his head yes, right? So what happens is during deception we go into cognitive overload,
Okay.
and the prefrontal cortex, like the adult, like the newest part of our brain, starts to take over functions that it shouldn't be doing, right? Because it's having to fabricate all this information, and also the body doesn't want to keep a lie in. It's very expensive energetically.
Yeah.
Like the brain's a big energy hog, and so if you ask it to deceive, right, it's having to keep the lie in. It's having to create energy, like to sell the concept. It's having to add emotions to that, and so the system just melts down. But it's in these little tiny ways. And so when you can pick up on that, that's when you can because it's not always about creating these gotcha moments, right? It's really about knowing more than is immediately obvious and navigating around that so that you can begin to like get the right answer out of people, but more importantly, inform your decisions, right? Because you can just do something different, like knowing what you know.
So I'm going to go off script a little bit here because I want to dig here if we can, if that's
Okay,
okay.
let's do it.
Because what I found as an investigator is if I asked enough questions, people couldn't help but talk.
Oh yeah.
And what I didn't understand was how, because I'm a little bit like you. Like you said you could tell, but you didn't know how or why.
Hmm.
You were reading these kinds of things, right? So when you're learning how to identify this in real time, how was it for you that you began to realize I'm picking this stuff up and I'm transferring it and I'm making it knowledge that I can now use? Do you see what I'm trying to say? Or am I asking, I'm not asking a very good question because I didn't know
Um,
why I was good at it. But then as I began to learn it by seeing the same patterns over again, I began to then put it into groups.
well, when I was really able to put it into play, a lot more than just from bike racing
Hmm.
was because I'm trained as a hypnotist. I saw clients
Okay.
for 8 years. And I was able to, because here's the thing, when people go to therapy, okay, for one, no one wants to go to therapy. No one wants to be there. Okay. Just bottom line thing. And when they are there, there's a shame factor that's in play. Okay. And it's the same factor like if you're interviewing someone in an investigation, right? There's a shame factor at play, and so that can lead people to stretch the truth or minimize or what have you. Now as a therapist, right, I need to know exactly what's going on so
Okay.
I can get them across the hump, right? Because they didn't come in to be the same. Like they
Oh,
can't they walked in one way and they pay me money so they can walk out another way. And if they're not being straight with me, I have to know that so that I can get them to point B. Like and it is amazing the amount of people that come in and don't want to tell you the whole thing. And I got really good at figuring out when they weren't telling me everything. And then I got really good at pulling the truth out of them. And so this whole thing started right just in the sake of results. And of course now I do different like bigger things uh with it, but that's when I started to realize I'm like, okay, wait, I'm getting good at this.
yeah. It's fun to think back about how those progressions happened, and
Yeah.
that's why I was just asking you because I think some of our readers or listeners are probably you're reading detective stories for a reason. Like
Hmm.
you kind of get into trying to figure that out. So is body language the same for big and small lies?
It is.
Okay, tell me more.
No, well, yeah, it is. It's more subtle for the small ones. Okay, so body language doesn't. So for one, so first thing, let's get this really straight. Body language by itself doesn't indicate a whole lot. Okay. However, it's that intricate dance with the words and with your tone and with your volume and with your pacing that all of a sudden it can create a big, more complete picture.
Right.
So, um, body language, it doesn't scream at you, it leaks. And I think that every now and then it'll scream, but mostly it leaks. And
That sounds
so
like a line for your TV show. I'm telling you, that line jumps out at me.
yeah, well, good. Call the people in Hollywood and tell them to light a fire under them. Man, I've never met people who have less urgency than people in Hollywood. Um, so point being is that you really have to raise your sensory acuity. That's how much you're paying attention to what goes on outside of you to see these things. Because most of us go through life like paying so much attention to ourselves, we just don't pay attention to what's going on outside us. And so, and here's the thing: it's I understand how difficult it is to do just in daily life because one of the things that over the last, let's say, year, I've been really working on focusing on because it's a very accurate tell of stress is someone's blink rate. and it's not something that I was necessarily originally trained to watch.
Right.
And so I've been trying to focus on that more. And damn, it is hard to like take that new piece and pay attention, right? And now that I'm getting it, it's a lot easier, right? But even though like you can know all the stuff in the world, you can memorize every book ever written on the topic, but to put it into play takes conscious effort. So that's, in my keynotes, because a lot of what I do is speak to associations and corporations to help them integrate this into their sales and negotiations and hiring and things like that. Like I make sure in my talk that people have an experience of using it, but it's up to you to keep using it, because like there's so much uncertainty going on these days with everything around us. And whether it's economically, politically, or even online, like we are more deceived than ever, more than ever. And knowing the truth is key to making the best decisions that you can, right? And moving forward powerfully, because every big like leadership decision like has an impact, and it like with dollars, time and money, and so it's super important to best inform that decision immediately right away, so that you're working with all the information that you have.
Yeah. Great words there. And by the way, now I'm really self-conscious about my blinking. So like,
Well, the thing about blinks, here's the thing about blinks. There's two things that you can't manually control. One is your blink rate, and the other is your forehead. And so when you can start to watch those two body parts, I was going to call them like items, but when you can watch those two things, you're going to get a really accurate view of someone's emotional state and what they're comfortable with and what they're not. Like, because here's the thing, Chris, is that signs of deception there's no like sign of deception. It's what you're looking for is a sign of stress. And stress is for people who are not like neurologically like a psychopath or something like that, then that's going to be a really accurate read on what's going on for someone.
So your best people to interview for body language are bald people, then, because we have lots of forehead.
Yeah, for sure. But even if you don't, I mean, the worst ones are the bangs. I'm like, get rid of the bangs. Or Botox is another one that'll
oh yeah,
that can throw a wrench in that. But even so, like, here's the thing: I'm not having anything against Botox. I like it. I think it's great. I think it can lead to a really good look. So I'm not getting down on people or judgy or anything. But here's the thing: there's always an area outside the affected area that will move. So don't think like if you find someone whose eyebrows are cemented into place, there's other tells, like head to toe, but definitely in the forehead too. You can still see stuff.
fantastic. So how do we start to use this info at work and get real answers that we need out of customers and coworkers?
Okay, so to get answers, here's the key. Oh, and I want you to consider this, and I know you know this, but my mentor in the FBI, he's an FBI trainer, retired now. He goes, look, it's all about information recovery. So all you got to do is keep people talking. Just keep them talking. And you can do like little bitty things, just elicitation things, and just say, huh, really? Or no way, right? Like little things like that will keep people talking. You can even tell them information that you know is empirically wrong, because people want to help and they want to they want to correct you, right? So one of the ones that I've heard was back in Vietnam. Okay, so the U.S. Navy's in Vietnam, and the soldiers get a little bit of leave, and they go to the bar, and spies are everywhere. They're everywhere, and they don't wear fedoras and trench coats. They don't. And all they got to do is keep them talking. And they said something like, "Oh, I heard the propellers on your boat was 10 feet wide," and they're like, they're a little drunk. They're like, no, they're 15. right? So,
Yeah.
so that's like just a little bit of how you can keep people talking.
Yeah, when I would interview people, or especially when I was skip tracing, my
Uh-huh.
challenge was to get my answer without asking them the question. Like
Yeah.
people like ask all the peripheral questions, but they
Hmm.
will volunteer the information
Oh
of
yeah. Yeah. They want to help. Skip tracing. Tell me about that.
well, when I was an investigator in Maryland, I worked Maryland, DC, and Virginia. I was a
Uh-huh.
process server as well. And I was 22, 23 the first time I did it, and it turned out I
Uh-huh.
was pretty good at it. And they kept sending me out
Uh-huh.
because I could talk to people and I could be whoever that person needed me to be.
Oh, okay.
Um, I even talk about it in one of my articles that if you need me to be a little rough and tumble and cuss, I could do that. If you needed me to be very sweet, friend of your son who I was trying to
Uh-huh.
find, I could do that.
Uh-huh.
Just and if you just talk to them long enough and ask them enough peripheral questions, they'll generally give you the answer that you came for.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Behavioral flexibility. That is key.
well, I love that term. We called it pretext,
Uh-huh.
but my soul called it lying. I was always in inner conflict about all of
Mm-hmm.
this. If that makes any
Mm-hmm.
sense. That's after 9 years, I'd had enough of it, but
Yeah,
I was good at it, which is kind of a scary thing.
it
So,
is. I gotta watch out for you.
well, we're gonna talk more about a couple questions I had for you, but tell me about the Brunswick bowling pin.
Oh, my bowling pin behind me. Okay, so I'm grew up in a family of bowlers. We're all bowlers, and my uncle was the best one out of all of us. And so he's in Arkansas, and he has a an attic that's kind of like a it's like a museum. All the toys from the 1950s growing up were there. And so when me and my brother were little, we'd go up there and, right, and we get the little, the marionettes and whatever that they had. And he had this bowling pin up there. And it just blew my mind. It blew my mind. Like, how could you get a bowling pin? Like, because I'm little. I'm like,
Yeah,
because then you wouldn't be able to set all the pins just right because you'd be down a pin, and like,
I get
like
it.
it just blew my mind. And so I've always wanted a bowling pin. I've always wanted one. And just after the pandemic, I got asked to speak at the Bowling Proprietors Association. And I gave my talk. It went great. And right before I was done, I was like, look, y'all. And I told them the story. And I said, I really want a bowling pin. I will buy it. Can I buy a bowling pin from someone in here? And the bowling lanes right over here by me, Chippers Lanes in Broomfield, Colorado. And mind you, we were in Louisville, Kentucky, because
Okay.
conferences are everywhere. The girl from there came up and she said, "We would love to host you for a night of bowling on us, and we will give you a pin." And that is my pin, and I'm so proud of it. And I just love it.
Well, so you lead a pretty cool life. You get to go talk to people and train with people about something you're impassioned about, right?
Mm-hmm. I
And so
do.
what I've seen from your newsletters, that's what you're sharing with people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And whether they ever use it or not, you're sharing a really useful skill and it's good entertainment.
Well, it is. People call my newsletters juicy. And so I'm always talking about someone in the news who's like showing these signs and they're probably being deceptive. And the more and more video that we have out these days, the more there is to comment on. So I do that once a month, and people can join. And I know you're going to put the link in your comments or in the article. But if you're hungrier than that, um, every day I post on Facebook or TikTok, and I'm getting a huge following going. I've only been posting every day since about let's call it the 1st of December
Okay.
on Facebook. I've been doing it kind of randomly on TikTok, like and gaining a little bit. Okay, so let's back up. I got kicked off TikTok for my analysis of Harry and Meghan. Um, and I believe that they have someone on the inside at TikTok who pulled everything off. And I'll tell you, it was February 2nd, 2024, I believe was the date. Whenever his book came out,
Okay.
because I was racking up the views like 600,000, 700,000. And I didn't say, hey, look, he's lying, so you should hate him. I was like, hey, here's an example of someone who's holding back information, someone who's not being 100% truthful, all, I think justifiable, right? But Harry and Meghan did not like it. And the reason I know that they have someone on the inside at TikTok is because on that day, my friend who was kind of helping me craft all of this, like, just strategy wise, I'm like, look, my account's gone. It's not coming back. And she got on there and you could not find anything about Harry or Meghan on TikTok at all on that date. So they had everything. They scrubbed TikTok. So I was like, why am I putting all this effort into this, hoping to build something here,
Right.
if it's all going to be just taken away? And so I just quit for a year. And then I kind of got back doing it. I was like, why not? I have a little extra time. Anyway, it's starting to blow up. But I post the same thing on Facebook, and that's the one that's really going. So since
so you got the kids and the old people.
Yeah. So and Facebook, for real, it is old people. Like the 65 plus crowd loves me. Yeah. Because I can see all the stats. But since December, and we're talking, today is what, March 5th or so. Since December, I've gained, I'll give you the latest number, 66,000 followers and 4 million views. Hang on, let me get you the number here.
And this is on TikTok?
This is on Facebook. 4.7 million views in the last month. So it's going somewhere. That's good.
Well, I'll have to look you up. It's a personal goal to die without ever being on TikTok, but that's just.
Well, I had that goal too, but then I was like, maybe I could make some money.
I get it. I get it.
But I'll tell you, the Chinese, I don't think they're that good at math, because I went viral the last couple of days talking about the McDonald's CEO, and because he ate that burger. Funny. Yeah, and so I'm like, well, how does this actually come together? Like, why are we feeling this big mismatch? And so I did an analysis, and so that's almost 700,000 views right now. And I started out, I don't know if I'm throwing around too many numbers. I started out at 44,000 followers. They told me I got almost 20,000 followers from this one video, and my follower number is only up to 50,000. So something's like.
Yeah. Well, I love numbers, but they don't always match. So that's it's the trends I look for. But
they definitely don't match on TikTok. So.
Well, I mean, so in my life, I never stopped being an investigator. I just did it differently. I became a photographer because I learned how to take pictures of people doing things they shouldn't be doing.
Oh, okay.
And that led into my photography life, and then that led into my real estate life, which I've had for the last 26 years. But I've still always investigated the numbers, the profitability, all these different kinds of things.
Start investigating on TikTok. That would help me out.
Well, TikTok, I've never quite figured out there. But so, what closing thoughts do you have for us today? Because I think everybody should be on the newsletter. Right.
So, sign up for the newsletter. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's bodylanguagetrainer.com.
Bodylanguagetrainer.com. You got to scroll down. It's at the bottom, or just find me on Facebook or TikTok, and it'll be there too.
Okay. What closing thoughts would you have for us for the people that read, the Process Server Chronicles? They're probably interested in stories. They're probably interested in, I do a little thing on there about behavioral detective, like the tells and that kind of thing. But what is it you would leave with the readers?
I got to tell you, it's just one thing. It's pay attention or pay with pain. That is it. And that is the bottom line. Pay your attention bill. You will get a lot further in whatever area of life that you want, whether it's the real estate you're talking about, or investigating, or what have you. The information is there. The question is, are you gonna pay attention? Are you gonna use it?
So you ought to just become a writer or a screenwriter or something. You got pay with pain, or pay attention, or pay with pain. I love that. And then body language doesn't scream, it leaks.
Yeah.
Those are Mickey Spillane type lines. Great.
That's good. Well, I'll tell you what, on my when people sign up for my newsletter, you get all my videos, because I do have some Hollywood thriller level videos that I've done, and they're keynote promos. So I sneak that in there, but there's a plot in the last one that I did. I got 2 of them, and I'll do a third shortly. And I do have a writer in Hollywood who helps me out. She's amazing, and like she was a VP at HBO. She's written for the Hallmark Channel. I mean, she's really something. Anyway, where was I going with that? Is yes, to more Hollywood type stuff, because it's so exciting. Anyway, you can see those on my website. You can see them on my YouTube, wherever you want to go. And when you sign up for my newsletter, you'll get the details on why I'm doing another one. But it's a big cliffhanger, and if you haven't seen it, you're gonna be like, oh, when are we gonna get the next one? So
All right. Well, that's fantastic. Traci, I really want to thank you for being here today.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is super nice.
Fantastic. Well, listen, we'll catch you around. Keep reading, keep writing, keep talking.
Absolutely.